pass model of intelligence. Okay. So this was given by whom? This was given by three individuals. We have J.P. Das, Jack Neglery, and Kirby. Okay. So तो सबसे पहले हम क्या देखने वाले हैं? We are going to see the propounder. Okay. Who's the propounder over here? It is J.P. Das, Jack Neglery, and Kirby. Okay. So we have okay. So how did they view intelligence, right? उनके हिसाब से what is intelligence? Intelligence is this. Intelligence is basically involves three interdependent neurological functions. Okay. So any intelligent activity, guys, okay, it can be any intelligent activity. It is going to involve what? It is going to involve three interdependent neurological activities. Okay. What will it involve? So three neurological interdependent activity. Okay. So जो भी activity, whichever activity I'm going to discuss with you, this is what? This is interdependent. Okay. These are what? These are interdependent. That means one is dependent on the other. Okay. So let us see what are these activities? What are these neurological activities? The first activity that we have is called arousal or attention. Okay. So what do you mean by this? What do you mean by arousal or attention? Fine. So the state of arousal helps us to attend to a stimuli, guys. Okay, let me explain this. What do you mean by the state of arousal? Okay, suppose you are studying. Just say you like right now you're taking your classes with me. Okay, you're very much focused on your classes. Okay, so your focus is where? Your focus is here. What I'm teaching you all, right? Your focus is not what is happening outside of your room, isn't it? So suppose you're very focused on your studies and you hear this faint call that your mother might be calling you. Okay, but your attention is focused where? Your attention is focused here. Your attention is focused on this class. So you don't hear her calling you. Okay. So then again you have this faint noise that your mother might be calling you. And only when you pay attention, oh, that someone is calling me, isn't it? Only when you pay attention will you realize that, oh, yes, someone is actually calling me, right? This is known as your arousal or attention, fine? So it is the state of arousal, is the state of attention, which basically helps us in attending to a stimuli. Okay? What does it help us? So, this state so whatever is presented in front of you, because you are in a state of arousal and you're in a state of attention to this class, So whatever I'm saying, you are attending to that, isn't it? You are fully attentive to that particular thing, okay? Whatever I am saying to you, you are attending to that individual, right? You're attending to that individual stimuli, and that is why you were not able to hear that is why you were not able to hear your mother's call. Why? Because your full attention and your full arousal is in this class. Fine. Now, arousal and attention will help you process the information. That's true. See, guys, only when you're paying attention in the class will you be able to understand whatever I'm saying, isn't it? If you don't pay attention in the class, do you think you'll be able to understand anything that I'm saying? Not really, isn't it? But very important. It is very important to have an optimum level of arousal and attention. Too much and too little arousal will always interfere with our attention. ये बहुत important है. Okay, too much or too little arousal What do you mean by this? What do you mean by too much or too little arousal will always interfere with attention? Let's understand. This used to happen with me during maths examination. I used to be so nervous during mathematics examination. So I used to have this very high level of attention and very high level of arousal. Okay. So, what would happen? I would start making mistakes even in the simplest of the questions possible. I remember I was given a question in maths examination. It was a simple unitary method, guys. Okay, a simple unitary method which I had to do, and I did that question wrong. It was a 3 marks question and I made a mistake over there. Why? Because I was so aroused. I was so much paying attention. So that is why it is said that you have to have an average level of attention, fine, an optimum level of attention. Otherwise, you are going to lose focus. Okay. All right. So what happens is, let's take an example over here. So I tell you that tomorrow I will be taking a class test, fine? Or your teacher announces that she will be taking a class test, right? So now you have your arousal, right? Now you're attending to that information that, okay, she's taking a class test of these many chapters. This is going to be a 2-hour test. So tomorrow I have to be prepared with these many chapters, isn't it? Okay? So you are doing what? You are now attentive to that information. Okay. After this, we have simultaneous and successive processing. This is very interesting. Okay. What do you mean by simultaneous and successive processing? See, guys, whatever information is given to you, you integrate that information into your knowledge system, right? This integration can be done simultaneously or it can be done successively. Fine. What do you mean by this? Okay. Simultaneous processing takes place when you perceive the relations among various concepts, fine, and integrate them into a meaningful whole, all right, all at the same time. Okay, so basically, what is simultaneous processing? When you're trying to understand the relationship between different concepts, all at the same time. Okay, so what is simultaneous? trying to understand the relationship between different concepts all at the same time. Okay, so you're doing it what? So when you're trying to understand the concept, right, or when you're trying to understand the relationship between the concepts, and you're doing it all at the same time, है ना? जब आप एक ही टाइम पे सारी चीजें करने की कोशिश करो. Let me explain. So suppose you have to understand, suppose you're doing a case study on someone, all right? So if you're doing a case study on someone, then don't you think that you will have to understand how different aspects of his life affect his psyche all at the same time, right? So you will have to understand his relationship with his parents, his teachers, his friends, his school, his trauma, etc. But you have to do it all at the same time, isn't it? You cannot go one by one. While you are trying to understand his relationship with his parents, you will also have to see how is it going on in school. Then you'll have to see the kind of trauma that both of these things are building on that person, isn't it? So you are doing it all at once. That is known as your simultaneous, fine? So when you're trying to understand a lot many things at the same point of time, because all of these things are connected to each other, that is known as your simultaneous processing, okay? What is successive processing? Successive processing is when we try to, so when you try to remember the information in a serial wise manner, okay? What is successive? Information is remembered in a serial wise manner. Okay. So what is this? What do you mean by serial wise manner? So when I say 1, you remember 2. When I say 2, you remember 3, isn't it? So that is what is known as your successive processing. Find serial wise when one helps you in remembering the other. When I say A, you would be able to say B. Okay? All right. Now here is an example which is given. The example is of an intelligence test called Raven's progressive matrices. Okay. So this is an intelligence test which will help you in studying an individual's simultaneous and successive processing speed. Okay. So what is Raven's progressive matrices doing? It is going to help you in understanding what it is going to help you in understanding a person's how good are they with successive and simultaneous processing. Okay? All right. Now, the last one that we have over here is planning. Okay? So I'm going to write it over here itself. Fine. So your teacher here has announced a test. Okay? You are completely focused on the test. You have noted down the chapters which are coming. You have noted everything down. Fine. Then you are planning. Okay. You are planning how to study, isn't it? You are trying to process all the information which is given in the chapter. Sometimes you will do simultaneous processing and sometimes you will do what? Sometimes you will do successive processing. Okay. Fine. Then we have planning. Planning is what? After the information has been, attended to, it has been processed also. Okay. Then you're going to think of the possible courses of action to achieve your goal. Okay, what will you do? This is what planning is. Thinking about possible courses of action to achieve your goal. Okay, so you have been given an announcement that there is a test. All right, once you have processed the information that okay, these are the chapters which are coming, then you will plan accordingly that okay, this is what I can do, this is how I can study. These 2 chapters I have already done, so maybe I can focus on the other chapters first, then come back to this chapter, do the revision of this chapter, right? So this is your thinking of possible courses of action. All right, so any intelligent activity that you do, guys, will always involve these 3 processes.
अब एग्जाम की तैयारी को और बेहतर करने के लिए हमारे चैनल को लाइक, शेयर और सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें।